It should be no secret that Adult Swim has been home to some of the wildest television shows, essentially branding itself as the channel for stoners and insomniacs. Over the years, the network has branched out to feature all types of comedy, never truly sticking to one style. The early days brought us Space Ghost Coast to Coast and Aqua Teen Hunger Force, while later years gave us Super Jail and Rick and Morty. Fast forward to 2020 and you get Joe Parra Talks With You, a show so genuinely wholesome and opposite to everything Adult Swim typically represents that it's actually astonishing its brand of earnest Napoleon Dynamite-style humor stuck around as long as it did. Mind you, I'm still pretty salty about that, which shouldn't be a huge surprise since one of my first videos was actually on Joe Parra Talks With You, and I wouldn't be entirely surprised if a certain David Zaslav was behind it. You were too good for us, Joe. Too good. That leaves me to say, even if your favorite show has been cancelled by Adult Swim, it's worth remembering. Don't ever be sad because it ended. Be happy it happened at all. Adult Swim has always been a bastion of creative risks, a channel that has always consistently taken on projects other networks would deem too risky or too strange to air. Be it a show about a sentient butt cop, a talk show where the host just harasses his guests into submission, or whatever the hell this is.
You'll be the first in heaven, the Blackie Robinson, Uncle Tom.
Which brings me to the topic of this video. Who would have imagined a show so crass, so shameless in its approach to comedy could find a home on Adult Swim? Despite its two first seasons being so lackluster in views, it was cancelled. Okay, I give up. I was trying to set up a clever transition, but yes, I'm talking about Family Guy, not my channel's bread and butter, thankfully. Smiling Friends is still golden. Also, just a quick reminder, although my last video did well in views, I still see that many of you aren't subscribed yet. So think of subscribing, commenting, and liking my video being like showing up to your friend's indie band on a Monday night. But instead of having to wait until 1 AM when they promised you they'd start at 8 PM, you just have to click a couple keys and ding the bell to see when I upload. Also, it's free.
You voted and we listened! This cannot be undone!
Family Guy is a show that, as cliche as it sounds, truly needs no introduction. Your dad watches it, your mom probably watches it, your grandmother might even watch it. Hell, many of us were introduced to it at an age when we were probably too young to even watch it in the first place, but that only made it even better. The first few seasons were genuinely groundbreaking at the time, with their shameless use of cutaway gags and pop culture references. Back then, it felt fresh and hilarious, especially in the pre-Robot Chicken world, where reference-based humor wasn't quite as in vogue.
Sick reference though, bro.
Oh, thanks, bud.
Dude, your references are out of control. Everyone knows that.
Which, by the way, shouldn't be a huge surprise that the creator of Robot Chicken was actually heavily involved with Family Guy, Seth Green, the voice of Chris Griffin. That said, the real charm of early Family Guy wasn't just the cutaways, it was the genuinely funny character moments.
What color is a fire truck?
Oh God, I always get these. God, I can picture them now, all red and everything.
That's right, Peter. They are red.
Lois, what are you doing?
I switched Peter's questions to the preschool edition, just to let him have his moment.
In spite of it being a very clear Simpsons knockoff, it basically just took the dysfunction of the Simpsons family and dialed it up to 1,000, while still somewhat feeling like real people outside of Peter Griffin. But fast forward to 2024, and the Family Guy we once knew is just long gone. For one, it's about 20 seasons too long. Beyond that, the show has devolved into a flanderization of caricatures of its original cast. Quagmire, for instance, went from the silly, unhinged sex fiend to someone who now assaults Marge Simpson as a throwaway gag. Yeah, it's what people mean when they say a show has gone too far. There was even an analog horror trend compiling the most disturbing, gory moments in the series because for some reason, they had an obsession with absolutely demolishing characters for shock value. Worse is that Family Guy has a tendency to randomly switch gears and try to be deep. Zach Hadel himself has famously called out the Bank Vault episode 17 of Season 8, where Stewie and Brian are trapped together with a gun. Just episodes before this, the show was reveling in juvenile humor, with Peter abusing Meg for laughs as usual. Suddenly, we're supposed to take Brian's existential crisis seriously? Oh boy, Seth MacFarlane may have meant well with this, but it just comes off as disingenuous and genuinely tone-deaf. Zach has even openly mocked this aspect of Family Guy on multiple occasions.
Why is Brian talking about killing himself? You know?
Oh yeah, that was so freaking deep.
That should have won an Emmy.
He's like, hey, I care about you quite a lot. There's some bullshit like that.
You could even say, I love you, Brian. You could even say...
He and Michael Cusack made it clear that Smiling Friends has no plans to suddenly pivot into deep or serious territory, even on the level of Rick and Morty's where they occasionally have moments of existential dread, which means we're thankfully not going to have an episode revealing that Charlie's chill guy persona is just a mask for unresolved trauma over his dead girlfriend. As a nation of what happened to her between seasons, anything is possible.
So between season 1 and 2, she got crushed by a bulldozer. That'll be the season 2, episode 1 opening is the deal.
But even then, they wouldn't give it any huge emotional gravitas. There'd probably be a joke. The tonal inconsistencies of Family Guy really makes it funny that some people are comparing Smiling Friends to the show on the surface seamlessly, while Family Guy relies on disjointed strings of gags that often add nothing to the story or its characters. A common sentiment about Family Guy is that it's just funny in small doses, clips on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube compilations. This is because the show's rapid-fire joke delivery rarely serves the plot, making it perfect for bite-sized consumption. Unfortunately, this is only fueled its popularity among a new audience that enjoys content alongside sensory overload visuals like Subway Surfers gameplay, making its viewers forget that its characters are now shallow, two-dimensional husks of what they used to be, and f***ing stupid. That's what makes Smiling Friends so damn good. Meanwhile, Family Guy's infamous chicken fights are just that, overly long, repetitive gags that add nothing to the story. Additionally, while Family Guy may force deep moments to give its characters any semblance of character, each other even at their worst. So, what did we learn today? If you know anything about Smiling Friends or Family Guy, it's that we've learned absolutely nothing. And hey, that's okay. These aren't shows that aim to teach life lessons, but smart, and Family Guy serves as a cautionary tale of what happens when it's not. And they try too hard to be deep in our logic of its universe. Meanwhile, Family Guy, for all its cultural impact, being the face of Fortnite, often falls into the trap of relying heavily on cynical, vapid shock humor, disconnected gags, and cutaways that feel more like a distraction than an actual integral part of storytelling. Sorry guys, South Park was right about this one, even if I find myself laughing at dumb edits online of the show, while the other leaves you wondering what the story was even about. It's a perfect example of how intent and execution make all the difference in absurd comedy. You can watch a quick gag from Family Guy, enjoy it for a moment, enough to get a sensible chuckle, but you won't feel moved to watch an entire episode, unless of course it's from the multi-dimensional episode where they go to a Disney-like world. That was actually pretty baller. But outside of that, much of new Family Guy just doesn't have the sauce. When you watch a segment from Smiling Friends, you genuinely want to see more. Why is the S1 character? All of this and more drives us to keep watching. So here's hoping Smiling Friends never loses its freshness and never being too overly weird like Family Guy has become. Once the pinnacle of absurdist adult comedy, now something you see edited to footage of Subway Surfers on Instagram or TikTok. By the way guys, I just want to remind you, every like and comment means the world to me. It helps push my videos so more people can see my goofy ass yap about stuff I love. And so I can have more moments like this while playing Dead by Daylight, where someone recognized my channel and knew of my Uzumaki video. Knowing all you cool people from around the world get to see my videos that I put all these hours into editing and scripting means the world to this degenerate video editor. So with that, take it easy guys.